Okay, guys, we're ready to finish our program and actually hopefully get some action happening in this little world that we've created. Our render function was our last function that we need to do, and we'll also going to add some code down the bottom to actually get this game going for the first time. But our render function is going to make use of our object images that we created up here before, using our monster ready, hero ready, and BG image ready variables. Okay, so we're going to check, are those ready, by testing is the value of this ready variable set to true, and if it is, then we're right to draw that image on the canvas. So we're going to use an if statement for each one of these, one at a time. We'll start with our background image. So we're saying if BG ready, in other words, if that is true, which is true if our image load has completed and it's ready to go, then that would be true. And if that case, then onto the canvas using our context variable, we're going to draw image. We're going to draw BG image, which we've got the source loaded in, and we're going to give it a starting X and Y value of 0, 0. That way it puts it right in, it fills up our entire canvas because our canvas dimensions are exactly the same as our image dimensions. So that's simply going to put that into our image, and we're going to repeat that process for both of our hero object and our monster object. If hero is ready, CTX draw image, draw the hero, hero X, hero Y, those are coming from our reset function. Hero X and hero Y are already set above. Monster X, monster Y have already been set above, so they're coming from up there. Those positions will put those objects in those positions, and obviously these ones are going to be random, and the heroes are going to be set in pretty much the same place. So that's as simple as that. That's rendering and continuing to render those objects, which are going to continue to be changed by our update function. And we just keep re-rendering those changes. So the final bit that we need to do then is the score. We also need to render the score, which is just drawing some text on the image. Or drawing some text on the canvas, which we saw in our example. So we need to add the score. So we need a fill style. We're just going to set it to white, a particular font with a size and a font name. You can alter those, you can change those. I want to align it to the left so that it's on the left hand side of my canvas. I can position it in other spots if I want. I want it to be at the top, so that's just a little bit of alignment, text align and text baseline. Where do those things appear? So that's going to control where my score variable appears, and then I want to actually draw the text using the fill text method, and the text that I want is monsters caught with a colon and then a space, and then I want to add on the monsters caught variable, which continues to count up from our previous function, and an X and Y position of 32 by 32, 32 and 32. You can play around with those variables till you get it in a position that you're kind of happy with, but essentially that is going to position my text in about that sort of spot there. Okay, so that's going to continue to render that, and this will continue to add up as one keeps getting added to the monsters caught variable every time a monster gets caught. So that's pretty much all that needs to happen with my render function. However, at the moment though, I've still got nothing appearing in my world quite yet. It's still appearing here as a blank page, and that's because I need to now apply a few finishing touches and actually get this thing running for the very first time by adding a little bit of code at the very, very bottom, right down the bottom underneath all of my code so far. I need to set my last render variable at the date right now. So the very first time that I render this world, I need to say, okay, it's happened just now. So I initialize my last render variable as the last render being right now, which means the next time it renders, I set a date now becomes some date in the future, and I can get the difference between that future date and just now, which is held inside last render. So that's sort of how I set that process in motion. I want to call my reset function to position my monster and my hero object for the very first time in those starting positions that I've got. And then I want to start the game loop running, because the game loop then controls everything from there. It constantly calls the update function and the render function and allows my characters to continually move around my screen. So hopefully, and do what they're supposed to do. So hopefully, yes, I've now rendered this out and I've actually got some stuff on the screen now. I've got my background, I've got my hero and my monster object, and I've got my text, my score text, and if I press yes, that's working, left, right, up, down, curl, they're working, and if I catch a monster, yes, he gets repositioned, and it's adding 1 to my score. So and I can continue for as long as I want, catching as many of these little critters as I like. But obviously you're going to get a little bit bored with that fairly sort of quickly, but you can see you've got the basic bones of a game ready to go, and really now you've got the abilities to be able to add extra characters into this, extra monsters. You can create methods in the monster function to give him certain abilities that maybe sometimes you catch him and he's got some special power and you lose lives, or all of those sorts of things now all become possible with that basic structure in place. So if you haven't got this quite working, you might like to do some debugging to get that working. I might post the full code on our Moodle page so that you can go and debug and get yours to work. And then you might like to make a copy of it so that you keep this base code intact and work on a copy of it there where you modify and maybe like to try and add some things and get some other things working. And that's really how you learn to program, by creating things and then modifying and tinkering and adding to. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can do with this little simple application in its current form. So that's the end of our tutorial, guys. I hope that was useful for you and you learnt some stuff along the way. Some of the techniques that we've used here will continue to apply in other programs, because very much the structures and the processes we've used here can be replicated in other applications. So we'll make use of this stuff again later on. But that's it for this series. Thank you very much.